Are you lonely yet? How many people have you met in the last week? The last month? When was the last time you saw a friend? Really spoke to someone in person, face to face, no messaging? The barista that you have a crush on doesn't count either. When was the last time? Oh, but you swear you're not lonely. The thing is, both the problem and the solution lie in the questions that I just asked you. We as humans don't talk to each other as much as we used to. That's a given. I don't need to tell you about how social media and the internet has made us more isolated. That's another topic, and honestly, I've got nothing to say that hasn't already been said. I want to draw your attention to what I just asked you. How many people have you met in the last week? The last month? When was the last time you spoke to someone face to face, no messaging? When I asked you that, you answered a scarily low number. I don't know exactly what number because I'm just inside your screen right now. My point is, your loneliness is entirely in your hands. It's not all your fault that you're in this situation, but it is your responsibility to solve it. So, what do? Well, first, you do have to talk to people.
Huh?
You have to talk to strangers. Some of them will become friends, some of them will remain strangers. And you won't click with everyone. That's just life. Oh, but it's scary, it's so scary. I know it's scary, okay? But you know what's scarier? Dying alone. Oh, you're listening now, are you? Oh, okay. So we've established that you actually have to talk to people. So how do you do that? Well, one of my favourite methods is to become a regular at a third place. Now, a third place is basically somewhere that you spend your leisure time. Your first place is where you live, your second place is where you work, and your third place is a cafe or a bookshop or the climbing gym that you go to. Wherever it might be. Now, I'm a fiend for a sweet treat. I love pastries. So when I first moved to my new city, within the first week, I already had a pretty good idea of where I wanted to go. And there was one cafe in particular which I just stumbled upon. And I went in because I was like, I could really use a cinnamon bun right now. So I walk in and lo and behold, there's a cinnamon bun. And boy, it looks good. So I buy it. Simple as that. And as I predicted, the cinnamon bun was top. It was so good. So the next day I went back. I got another cinnamon bun. And this sort of snowballed until multiple times a week I would be going to this cafe, whether I'm getting a cinnamon bun or a cookie or just a coffee. Gradually the staff started to recognize me. They're like, oh, you're the one that loves the cinnamon buns, aren't you? And you know, naturally, as you do, you get talking to these people. And long story short, I'm still a regular at this place a few months later, and in a weird butterfly effect, fate brought us together type thing, I actually ended up spending Christmas Day with one of the baristas that I met at this cafe. Now, the point of me telling this story is because when I walked in that one day, when I stumbled upon this cafe, I had no idea that in a couple of months' time, I would be spending Christmas with someone who worked there, someone who was just plating up and heating up my cinnamon bun. So you never know where a bit of small talk might take you. And I know small talk is a big scary word for a lot of people. 2 words, I think. I think it's small talk. Okay, anyway. Small talk is a big scary word for a lot of people, and a crucial step of this, the crucial step to not dying alone, is learning to enjoy small talk. And I'm still working on this, so maybe I'm not the best person to talk on this topic, but there are a few YouTubers that I do watch that are really good and that have spoken about this in a much more succinct, in a much more effective way than I could ever. So I'll link their videos in the description, but basically what I have learned is that you just have to stop being so caught up on the details, and you need to just let go and start injecting little bits of yourself into small talk. Now, I'm not saying go full goofy mode and haha, like straight away when you've met someone, but you know, little nuggets of personality, because how many times have you answered the same question in small talk and just wished, man, I wish someone would just ask me something else. I wish someone would ask me something that I actually care about. And the only way to get this to happen is to go through the small talk and make sure this person is actually interested enough to ask you these things eventually. Because if you're not injecting some of your own personality into these often boring topics, you're gonna be rattling off the same boring answers. And I hate to break the news to you, but if you do this, you're just gonna be boring. And it's cliche, but it really is as simple as just learning to be yourself. Not just around your friends, but also around someone that you've just met. You put yourself out there and they didn't link, they didn't connect, they didn't vibe with you, but there's 7 billion other people in this world. What's the big deal? Now, I'm gonna get into a topic that might scare a few of you. You might not like what you're about to hear, but you need to go outside every single day. And I know, it's January, it's cold, it's miserable, but if you can establish a few activities that you like, you know, as I mentioned, going to a bookstore, going to a cafe, even just walking around outside in the cold, it's quite nice. It kind of makes you feel alive a little bit. You know, treating yourself to a nice pastry, I guarantee you will feel so good. Even if you're not really doing anything in particular outside, if you're just walking around aimlessly, it does absolute wonders to your mental health. And I'm saying this from experience because I am a serial aimless walker. The amount of times, most days, if I'm not working, if I'm not busy doing something else, most days I will just walk outside my apartment and just go on a walk. I have no destination and it's pointless. Logically, this is a pointless thing for me to do because I'm not getting anything done. But that's the beauty of it. I'm not getting anything done. I'm just taking a break and it's nice outside, so I'm gonna go for a walk. And we are animals. Like, we need to be outside. And I find that if I don't go outside at least one time every single day, I go a bit crazy. And while it's fun to be a little bit crazy, to be a little bit insane, it's not healthy. I'm saying all these things and it's all just coming back to the one thing, that it's just nice to be outside. You know, walking around aimlessly is one of my favorite things to do. I love to walk in a circle. It's brilliant. It's like so good. It's such a simple thing. And it's so easy. Bro, just put your shoes on, put a coat on, and you're golden. You're all good, mate. Another simple but super important thing is to learn to love to be alone. And it seems counterintuitive. It seems paradoxical in a video that I'm telling you how to not die alone, that I'm also saying you need to learn to be alone. But let me cook. Stay with me here. Most of your life will be spent on your own, with yourself. You might be seeing this in your life situation right now. You might be living alone. You might spend a lot of your time alone, or you know, you might still be in university or school where you're constantly around people. So you're like, no, that's not true. I'm going to be around people forever. You're not. I'm going to pull out a figure, but there's nothing to back this up. You're going to spend like 90% of your life alone. And I just made that figure up. Who's going to stop me? Point is, you're going to spend a lot of your life alone, okay? So you need to learn to love being with yourself. You need to learn to love your own company. If you want to do something, don't wait to be joined by other people. If you want to go to a concert, if you want to eat at this new restaurant that you found, don't wait for someone else to say, yeah, I'll go with you. Just go. Just do it. And if this is too scary to you, if you can't bear to be perceived as having no friends, then think about the other perspective, okay? If you saw someone in a restaurant alone, would you instantly think, oh, what a loser, they've definitely got no friends? Or would you be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder what that person's doing. I wonder who they are. And if you answered the first one, if you would instantly think that that person's a loser, maybe you need to look in the mirror, because that's not normal. And if you answered the second one, you've got it right. That's what everyone thinks when you're in a restaurant alone, because it's taboo, it's different. Eating out at a restaurant is like such an activity for multiple people. Like, no one really eats out alone. And because it's different, because it's interesting, you might start a conversation with the table next to you, or with the hot waiter that you really want to fuck. And listen, I know it's expensive. It's prohibitively expensive. But newsflash, we live in a capitalist society where doing fun things costs money. And it sucks. But what are you gonna do? Are you gonna sit around and mope about it? Or are you gonna roll with the times and be like, I'm gonna go treat myself to a nice little meal, regardless of what Yeah, I don't know. I have nothing. But you need to allow yourself a little treat, is my point. You deserve a little treat. You're working all the time. You're working 40 hours a week and you can't even treat yourself? Come on, man. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Stop thinking about that bank balance too much. Think about it a little bit because rent needs to be paid, but come on. Let go a little bit, you know what I mean? And even if you have no plans with friends or anything like that, just be around people. Some of my most beautiful memories of being on my own have just been when I've been walking around a random street and it's full of people. I don't know any of these people, but I just feel connected with the human race. And I'm sitting on the metro car, it's absolutely packed, we're packed in like sardines, but I'm just like, this is cool. I like seeing strangers out in the wild. And it sounds so stupid. Like how can you feel connected to people when you're not talking to them and you're just in the same vicinity as them? It's absolutely true, okay? Just be around people. Take public transport. Walk around in the streets. Do stuff. Now, for my final piece of advice, we're gonna take a bit of a U-turn. And watching this video, you'd be forgiven for thinking that I'm anti-internet. You know, sure, it's got its problems. It's caused a lot of social disconnect and all of that boring academic stuff. But sometimes it's pretty good. And something that I want to talk about is dating apps. But I don't want to talk about dating. I want to talk about friends. Friends? Dating apps? Mate, they go together like this. Let me tell you. When I moved to my new city back in September, I knew a grand total of one person. So what did I do? I got on the apps and I put on my profile, hey, I'm new here, I'm looking for friends. Let's hang out. Not word for word, I don't really remember what I put, but it was something like that, okay? Up steps Hinge. This app is so stupid and I hate it, but my God, I have met so many people off of this app. And a lot of them, you know, we're just Instagram friends now. We met one time and we didn't really click. We just like each other's pictures every now and again, and that's fine, that's cool with me. But I have met so many genuine friends. Some of my closest friends in my life right now have been off Hinge. And I hate how effective these apps are. I mean, it connects you with people in your age range who share the same interests as you, and you even get to read a little bit about them before you've ever even spoken to them. It's an absolute cheat code. And it may sound silly, me saying this, that dating apps, you can find friends on dating apps, guys, but you'd be surprised how many people are looking for the same thing. As dystopian as it is, one of the best ways to make friends in this age is to lie in your bed and swipe on all these people. And we're living in weird times. But what are we gonna do? Are we gonna sit around and cry about it? Or are we gonna move with the times and get on the apps? You know what I mean? I know what I'm choosing every single time. I think most of my advice just boils down to just put yourself out there. Which is silly. It makes me feel silly because I don't really have much new to say on this topic. And it's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason, right? Because it works. I hope that hearing me say all of this can remind you at least that you don't have to be doomed to loneliness forever. It's not hard to lift your spirits, even if it's just for a few hours. Oh, and also, you have to be patient. You're not gonna meet a new best friend every single day. That's what the Disney movies are for, okay? Hang in there, keep learning to love your own company, and eventually, love will find you. Whether it's platonic love or whether it's romantic love that you're looking for. And that's really all I have to say. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Yeah, we're living in lonely times, but it doesn't have to be all bad, okay? Remember that. Cool. See ya.